Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. We've had another legal conclusion. The Diddy case, the verdict is finally back. It came in yesterday, and there was one case they couldn't decide on, one charge they couldn't decide on. The rest they'd actually found him all guilty, I heard. But now they've come back and they've only found him guilty on two charges, and he got off on the main one that they were undecided about, and others. So it went in his favour when they sent them back, unfortunately. But yeah, so the big charges of racketeering and all that, he was found not guilty, which is just unbelievable. He was found guilty on prostitution, which apparently there were really no witnesses called for that, and it was just the documents that did that. So yeah, so just kind of shocking that now he could get a maximum of 10 years, but probably a minimum of 2 years, and they may be served consecutively. It's hard to tell how that's going to go, but he should get jail time. He hasn't, he's escaped life in prison, but he hasn't escaped jail time, and has been found guilty. So this whole idea of he's innocent and he was just being, a lot of the things that police have done in the past, allegedly, supposedly, of victimising, successful black people, particularly black men, which I think they have been guilty of in the past, was not the case here. He was clearly guilty of all this stuff, but unfortunately, we just have a very sexist country in America that they just can't hear women. Now, I don't believe in believing all women, because some women lie and manipulate. They're not all innocent. They're not all victims. But even when they are, apparently we can't hear that either, or they can't hear that either. So it's just kind of sad, because they literally, the idea of consent and that, they just can't get their head around it. Like, if someone beats you and then tells you to do something and you say yes, well, apparently that's your fault, because you consented to doing what they told you to do, when the option to that, the alternative to that, was being beaten more or killed, or having your life destroyed. So they just excused him so much, like, oh well, they agreed to do all these horrible things, out of, even though they were living in fear of this person and what could happen to them if they didn't do that. And that's just shocking that keeps happening. We hear it over and over again, where it's like, well, she consented to be abused. Well, it doesn't quite work like that. You may consent to doing something with someone because you're afraid of them, or because you're being pressured, or because you don't feel like you have a choice. And then people can turn around and say, well, you did have a choice, even if you didn't know it, didn't see it, didn't feel it, or it was taken away by threats that we don't acknowledge. It's just really ridiculous and offensive that he wasn't found guilty on every charge. But at least he was found guilty on some charges. He is a convict. He is convicted. He is going to jail for some period of time. This will affect his life. He hasn't gotten away with all of this scot-free, but he has gotten away with most of it. And that's what happens when you're rich. Even if you're a black man, he's still rich. So he still had influence, he still had power, and he still managed to do all this, get away with it for so long, and get away with some of it in the end. So I just had to comment on that, because it's a big deal. I didn't follow the whole case because it was just too much and shocking. Just the amount of things that came out, the amount of people who testified, and just how far it went. And then to see most of that dismissed, and they just paid attention to basically some court papers they could not deny. There was paperwork they couldn't deny. Otherwise they would have, because I think people just wanted to find him not guilty because he's rich and famous, and for some people with race issues, black. Because black men have historically been, given the wrong end of the stick. So there is this whole, I won't say movement, but just feeling of, if this guy gets off, it makes up for the ones who were unfairly convicted, and just two wrongs don't make a right. So, yeah. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Maybe actually ding the bell or look at my channel for future videos, because YouTube's not going to share them. But yeah, I'm just going to go and contemplate what this means.